Welcome to the Quilt Ambition 2.0, where we're going to just take some time and go over just some highlights of the screen and the buttons and what they can do. And then that way, as you watch more of these videos, you'll have an understanding of where they are and what they are designed to be used for. So when you turn the machine on, you're going to come up to a straight stitch, and there's a number 1 right here. But the number 1 has a little tiny darkened corner. So that means that you can touch. So if you are looking for stitch number 5, like a zigzag, you can dial in all your stitches from up above and touch the check mark, and that stitch will be selected. Another way to pick stitches is actually from the entire list. Now this is actually nice if you touch the little arrow pointing down, because some of the stitches, it's hard to know, like, what are they really? And these are going to give you some definitions. So an elastic stitch, a triple zigzag stitch, and you can arrow down, you can touch and hold the little arrow at the bottom here, and it will go through. So if you're looking for a pin stitch or a loop quilt or crazy pat stitches, I like that they have them kind of grouped together, and you can actually get into like all the scallop stitches and just start by picking one and ready to go. Now, one of the things that I do like is that there are times where I don't need all the information on screen, but there is an eye right here, and when you touch the eye, that's where you get the information for, say, what foot to use, whether you're going to use stabilizer, whether the IDT is engaged or not. Let me actually pick a stitch so that would make sense. So this little symbol is the IDT, or the dual feed. You pull down from the back of the machine. Here is our tension setting. Now this is actually one you need to adjust yourself. So if it says from 3 to 5, this dial up here, right up here, is the one you actually turn and get into that particular range. These numbers indicate stitch width and length. If you're just on the straight stitch though, you don't get stitch width, you get needle position. So if I come over here and touch, then it's moving my needle, or as you can see, the line of the straight stitch changes, and my needle's moving to kind of the far right side of the machine. Now, a quick way to reset this, instead of pushing this minus button all the way, is actually just pick stitch number 1 again. Let's just do that. Just pick number 1. And then it will clear out any settings that you have touched on screen. So super easy there. Let's kind of go down below here. So this is where we get all of our stitches. This is the sequencing area, the A with the heart and the B. You'll notice this will be where we can type in stitches, we can save them, we can delete them, and retrieve them as well. These are all your alphabets, so we have a couple different styles of alphabets that you can pick from: block letters, outline letters, script letters. And we'll go into how to put them all into memory together. And then this is a tie-off area. And what that means is that you can set the machine to do locking stitches before or after, depending on when you want it to lock. And we'll really get into this and help you understand when to use these and when not to use them. But what's nice is that they can be activated and deactivated at any time. So I'm going to just bring us back to our normal selecting of our stitches as we go over here to this side. So our needle up or down function. So if the light is on, that means your machine will always stop with the needle in the down position. This is a finish the pattern type option. So if you're sewing, this will finish a decorative stitch, so you're not stuck with half of a decorative stitch. This is your immediate tie-off. So at any given time, you want locking stitches right where you are. Touch that, and it's going to start to stitch, and then it stops at the end, stitching all in one hole, that is. Speed control, we can slow the machine down or speed it up. Sometimes when I do free motion quilting, I might like to set it kind of at a half speed, a little bit more control over the speed of the machine while I free motion quilt. If I'm stitching with a youngster, I can go ahead and set it all the way as slow as it goes as they get used to the machine. Speaking of sewing with a young person, you might also enjoy using the start-stop button. Then that way they don't have to step on the foot control. So as you sew, they can just do it all with one button. This is nice when you're sewing out lots of decorative stitches too. So I'll speed that up and then sew, and off it goes. I really like that. This is your reverse button, or end of sequence, for like getting it to tie off as well. We'll get into understanding the use of the reverse button here. We have on this side where we can mirror image a design. So if we have a design, let's go ahead. I'm going to find one that is not symmetrical. Sometimes it takes a second to, oh yes, how about 160? So I'll type in 160 and then I'll check mark that. So as you see with the little bells, they are leaning to the side. So if I want them to be sewing a different direction, I can flip them, and then I can also have them lean. Oh, not on this one. I was going to say I could flip them the other way, but apparently not. Okay, so that's good to know. Let me just try one other stitch, and then how about 176? And can I have that? Yes. So this one will go all 4 directions as I have that set there. So I can go regular and flipped right to left, and then back and forth. So just depending on which way you want your stitch to actually go. Remember, if you just need to get back to a straight stitch, touch number 1 and you're back to where you started. These are, again, are your stitch width or length or needle position if you're in a straight stitch. The I was where we turned on the information on screen for all those other settings, which I would probably recommend that you keep on there, because that foot recommendation is always helpful to know which foot to put on. And then our settings menu, the little one with the tools picture. This is where you can tell the machine if you're going to be using a twin needle. You can turn that on and then adjust the size, and then it will make sure that you don't break it while you're sewing, which is really nice. And anything that you do in the settings menu is going to be remembered when you turn the machine off, which is really, really nice. Stitch width safety, you can set it so it does not do a zigzag. It is locked in the center position. I'll often put that on when I'm putting my 1/4 inch foot on, then I don't accidentally pick a stitch and then break a needle as it goes back and forth. Contrast of the screen, you can actually get in here and set that, and then also to calibrating your touch screen, the languages that are in here, and which version of software you have. So that's all in the settings area. Really helpful to kind of have that feature. And again, anything you do here is remembered when the machine is turned off. So that's a quick overview of the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 2.0 sewing machine, and I think you're ready to get started.